All right, everyone, let's dive in. Today, we're tackling a really fascinating and, yeah, admittedly dense text called the Gothic Synthesis. Our job is to get in there, pull apart its really complex metaphors, and see if we can uncover the pretty profound story of personal transformation that's hiding inside.
So, right from the opening line, the atmosphere is just thick. You can feel it. The Abbey of Safety sounds nice, right? But then you get hit with velvet gloom and this image of a statuary of salt. It just screams stagnation. It's preserved, sure, but it's totally lifeless. This abbey isn't just some building. It's the starting point, the initial state of the psyche that we're about to explore. And that brings us to our first big idea here, this architecture of stagnation. The text makes it super clear. The Abbey isn't a real sanctuary. It's a psychological prison. It's this elegant cage we build for ourselves out of a very fragile sense of who we are, what the text calls a city of glass. So, what's the operating system running in this prison? The text calls it the logic of zero. But notice how it's described. It's not some active, malicious force. It's dormant. It's a passive state, like a low hum of potential nothingness in the background that keeps everything perfectly and terribly still. And right here, the text just lays out the central conflict for us. It's a choice. On one side, you have the gilded cage. It's safe, it's stagnant, but it's a fragile identity inside the abbey. And on the other side, sovereign destiny. This path demands a cosmic pilgrimage, a journey toward becoming a whole, integrated, authentic self. So, how do you make that leap? How do you get from a prison to a pilgrimage? Well, the text argues that the big shift isn't about blowing things up. It's about transformation. And this whole thing is driven by a really critical concept called the Great Transvaluation. You can think of it as the philosophical engine for the whole journey. And here's the absolute key to everything. You don't escape your past by trying to destroy it. You escape by repurposing it. The wanderer literally takes the walls of his own prison, those colored rooms of his old self, and uses them as the raw materials to build a ship. The prison actually becomes the vessel. Okay, so every ship needs a crew, right? Well, in this allegory, the crew is made up of the wanderer's own inner demons, his internal antagonists. But through this process of transvaluation, they get transformed into these incredibly powerful allies. Let's look at the first crew member, the Red Spectre. Before this whole voyage, he's that punishing inner critic, the sentinel of the superego, always pushing for self-dismantlement. But through transvaluation, that same intensity gets repurposed. He becomes the architect of the new foundation, a source of order, a kind of sovereign law that makes sure the new values you're building are actually strong. And then you've got the uncanny jester. At first, he's just the voice of cynicism, mocking everything and everyone. But on the voyage, that sharp, critical eye gets turned outward. He becomes the navigator of the infinite. He uses that deep insight to map the chaos of the psyche, and his laughter actually provides the rhythm for the whole journey. So, we have a vessel made from the past and a crew made from our inner conflicts. But what's powering this thing? What's providing the energy for this cosmic pilgrimage? The answer is pretty wild, and it lies deep down in the Abbey's foundations. I mean, just pause on that question for a second. If the ship itself is constructed from your own history, from your memories, what on earth could possibly serve as its fuel? Well, the text's answer is what we're going to dig into next. The answer is the very stuff we try to bury. The text talks about these stone trees of repressed memory that start to bloom, unlocking these old traumas, this ignoble knowledge. That's what provides the raw, primal energy for what it calls the primal engine. Your own internal decay gets transvalued into fuel. The worst parts of your past literally become the power for your future. All of this, the vessel, the crew, the engine, it's all building towards the story's climax. This is the moment the wanderer stops just being a wanderer and becomes something totally new, a sovereign creator, someone who takes complete ownership of his own existence. And the turning point is symbolized by the Abbey's ebony clock. See, throughout the text, this clock just represents the relentless march of time. But then it strikes an impossible 14th hour. This isn't just an extra hour on the clock. This is a break from linear, determined fate. It's a moment outside the established rules, where real creation can finally happen. And in this impossible moment, the wanderer says a single powerful word: yes. And it's a yes to everything. It's a yes to what the text calls the original catastrophe of his own existence.
He's not just accepting his past, he is actively affirming it, choosing it as if he created it himself.
This yes triggers this incredible realization. He is both the watchmaker and the clock. So, what does that even mean? It means he's no longer a victim of time or fate. He's the one who creates the mechanism, and he is the mechanism. The end, that terminal shudder, is held off not by some miracle, but by his own continuous active choice to affirm his life. So, where is this ship headed? What's the final port of call? Well, the text's conclusion kind of suggests that the very idea of a final destination completely misses the point. The voyage is the purpose. This whole journey is described as an eternal becoming. It's a process that never stops, not a goal you arrive at. And this final line from the text just sums up the philosophy perfectly. The past isn't something you escape from, but something you are constantly integrating into a living, growing present. As long as you choose to grow, nothing is ever really lost. And really, that's what this whole Gothic synthesis leaves us with. It's this powerful shift in perspective that I want to leave with you. Instead of seeing your history as an architecture of stagnation, what if you saw it as the raw material for a vessel? So the question becomes, if your past is your ship, where will you choose to sail?